The Turpin family house of horrors. 13 children, trapped for years. Imagine living in a house where the windows are covered, the outside world feels impossibly far away, food is carefully controlled, freedom doesn't exist, and every day feels exactly like the one before it. Now imagine enduring that reality not for weeks, not for months, but for years. For 13 children in Southern California, that nightmare was real. What appeared from the outside to be an ordinary suburban home concealed one of the most disturbing family abuse cases in modern American history. A case that shocked investigators, horrified the public, and raised difficult questions about how such suffering could remain hidden for so long. Welcome back to Case 0360. I'm Sasha, and tonight we're examining the chilling story of the Turpin family, a real life case often described as a true house of horrors. Before we begin, please note that this story involves child abuse and neglect. Some viewers may find the details disturbing. Let's begin. For years, David and Louise Turpin presented themselves as a deeply religious family raising a large number of children. To neighbors and casual observers, they appeared unusual but not necessarily alarming. The family often kept to themselves. The children were rarely seen interacting with others, and visitors were uncommon. But behind closed doors, authorities would later allege a completely different reality, a reality that would remain hidden for years. The Turpins had 13 children. Ages ranged from very young children to adults. Yet investigators would later discover something shocking. Several of the older children appeared physically much younger than their actual ages. Authorities reported signs of severe malnutrition. Some adults reportedly weighed little more than what would be expected of children. The condition of the victims immediately raised serious concerns. Investigators would later describe evidence suggesting years of neglect and abuse. But how did the situation remain hidden? That's one of the most troubling aspects of the case. The family moved multiple times over the years, eventually settling in California. The children were largely isolated from the outside world. According to investigators, many had little contact with people beyond their immediate family. Isolation became one of the most powerful tools allegedly used inside the home. When people are separated from society, opportunities for help become limited. Outside observers see less. Victims have fewer chances to speak, and abuse can continue undetected. For years, that appeared to be exactly what happened. Then everything changed. On January 14th, 2018, one of the Turpin daughters made a decision that would alter the course of history. At just 17 years old, she escaped from the family home. Using a deactivated cell phone she had secretly obtained, she contacted emergency services. What she told dispatchers stunned authorities. The teenager reported that she and her siblings were being abused. At first, responding officers reportedly struggled to understand the scale of what they were hearing. The allegation seemed almost impossible to believe. But as investigators entered the residence, they quickly realized this was not an ordinary call. Inside the home, authorities encountered conditions that shocked even experienced investigators. The house itself appeared cluttered and unsanitary. Evidence suggested severe neglect. Several children were reportedly found in circumstances that immediately raised concerns for their safety and well-being. As officers continued their investigation, the true scope of the situation began emerging. The children allegedly faced strict control over nearly every aspect of daily life. According to prosecutors, food was restricted, movement was restricted, communication was restricted, and punishments could be severe. Investigators alleged that some children had been restrained for extended periods. Others reportedly endured conditions that left lasting physical and emotional scars. The public reaction was immediate. People across America struggled to understand how 13 children could allegedly suffer for so long without intervention. News coverage exploded. Questions followed. Where were social services? Why didn't neighbors know? Could warning signs have been missed? The answers were complicated. One challenge involved the family's isolation. When people rarely interact with the outside world, opportunities for detection become limited. Many neighbors reportedly knew very little about the family. Some noticed unusual behavior. Others observed that the children were rarely seen, but few understood what was allegedly happening inside the home. Investigators would later uncover evidence suggesting the children lived under extraordinary restrictions. According to reports, some had limited educational opportunities. Others lacked basic experiences most people take for granted. Simple activities many children enjoy every day were reportedly absent from their lives. As details emerged, the case became increasingly disturbing. Authorities alleged that some victims were allowed to shower only infrequently. Food access was reportedly controlled. Several children appeared severely underweight. Medical professionals evaluating the victims reportedly identified numerous health concerns requiring immediate attention. The allegations painted a picture of long-term abuse occurring behind a carefully maintained facade. Yet amid the horror, another story was unfolding, a story of survival. For years, the children had endured circumstances few people could imagine. Now suddenly they were free. But freedom brought new challenges. Imagine entering adulthood without many of the experiences most people consider normal. Imagine learning to navigate a world you've rarely been allowed to explore. Imagine trying to recover from years of trauma while simultaneously building a new life. That became the reality facing the Turpin children. Support organizations, healthcare providers, and community members stepped forward to help. Donations poured in. People across the country expressed sympathy and support. Many were inspired by the courage shown by the daughter whose escape ultimately exposed the situation. Without that single act of bravery, investigators might never have discovered what was happening. Meanwhile, the legal process moved forward. David and Louise Turpin faced multiple criminal charges related to abuse, neglect, and imprisonment. The allegations against them were extensive. As court proceedings continued, additional details emerged regarding conditions inside the home. The case attracted national attention and remained in headlines for months. Eventually, both parents pleaded guilty to numerous charges. The outcome provided a degree of accountability, but for many observers, the deeper questions remained. How could this happen? How could so many victims remain trapped for so long? Cases like this often force society to confront uncomfortable realities. Abuse does not always occur in obvious places. Danger does not always look the way people expect. Sometimes the most disturbing situations exist behind ordinary doors, hidden from public view, protected by secrecy and isolation. The Turpin case became a powerful reminder of that fact. It also highlighted the importance of recognizing warning signs. While every situation is different, experts often emphasize that extreme isolation, unusual restrictions, visible neglect, and concerning behavioral patterns can sometimes indicate deeper problems. Awareness matters, because intervention can change lives. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this story is not the cruelty alleged by investigators. It's the resilience shown by the survivors. Despite years of hardship, many of the Turpin children began rebuilding their lives. They pursued education, developed new skills, formed relationships, and experienced freedoms that had long been denied. Recovery from trauma is never simple. It takes time, support, patience, and extraordinary courage. But their journey demonstrated that even after unimaginable circumstances, hope remains possible. Today, the Turpin family case continues to be studied by investigators, psychologists, journalists, and child welfare experts, not only because of its shocking details, but because it serves as a warning, a reminder that abuse can remain hidden, a reminder that victims often need someone to notice, and a reminder that one courageous decision can change everything. The 17-year-old who escaped that night did more than save herself. She helped rescue 12 siblings, she exposed years of alleged abuse, and she ensured that a hidden nightmare could no longer remain secret. For many people, that act of courage remains the defining moment of this case. A single phone call, a single decision, a single chance for freedom, and 13 lives changed forever. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Case 0360. I'm Sasha. If you found this case informative, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more real life mysteries, criminal investigations, and disturbing true stories. And as always, stay curious, because sometimes the most shocking stories are the ones hiding in plain sight. I'll see you in the next case.